You know what I see up and down my timeline? You know what I see on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok? I see a bunch of whining. I said it. I see a bunch of men whining and complaining, and they got the attitude like, oh man, it's me. Oh, I just don't feel passionate about my work, and people don't appreciate me, and my girl doing this, and my kids didn't say I love you and all. I see that shit up and down my timeline, right? And I'm not here to kick you when you down. If that's been you, I've been there before. Let me tell you something. When I used to stay back in my hometown, and remember, I mentioned that me and my mom didn't have the best relationship. You notice I didn't mention my dad because I never met him before, right? I remember being in child support court one time, and I think the guy that I seen was my father. I'm not sure, but he never looked at me. He was standing there in the courtroom. My mom took him down there for child support court. He took a paternity test, right? And the paternity test was supposedly came back to where he wasn't my father, for whatever the case may be. But that's neither here nor there. During that time, he's there and he's looking straight ahead. And he like, yo, I shouldn't be able to pay for this kid. And I think I was about 10, 11 at the time. And I felt what he felt in that clip. I was like, man, like, do this guy, like just don't like me? Like, do he even want to have me? Was I a mistake? Was it a one night stand? I had all these questions going through my mind for years. And I finally seen him. And in that moment, I realized that it wasn't about whether or not somebody liked me or not, whether or not he liked me, whether or not he wanted me. If he was my father, which to this day I still don't know, he had a responsibility that he failed to hold up. And allegedly, he had an entire different family in Mississippi, and he had all girls, about 4 or 5 girls. I have 4 or 5 sisters I never met, and he could never have another boy. And I remember that feeling of not being wanted, not being appreciated, not being accepted, and that shit followed me all throughout my childhood. And he brought me to the moment to where I decided to move from Alabama. I said, you know what? I'm moving away from my hometown. None of my family fuck with me for real. I was so hurt one time that I wrote everybody in the family a letter and I was telling them about themselves. And they kind of joke about it now to this day, and they still bring it up and they talk about, oh, well, you don't want to make Rock mad, because when Rock get mad, he'll write you a letter and all this type of things. And I left. I was the first person to move outside of my hometown. And I came up here with nothing. No credit, no job, no prospects of even having income. Wasn't the wisest move, but I said, you know what? It has to be the environment. It has to be everybody else. It is no way that it could be me. I'm moving away, and I got the fuck from out of Alabama. I did. I left. I left, and I didn't even have a place to stay. We had to stay with my sister-in-law, sleep on the air mattress in her living room for about 3 months, 2 or 3 months, until we actually had the opportunity to get our own place. And I remember when I jumped and I moved to Atlanta, I got a rude awakening, because the truth is, it was probably a combination of the people, of my family, of my friends. But the truth is, it was 100% me. I had to look in the mirror. I'm going to say it again. I had to look in the mirror. I had to take responsibility before why I wasn't happy, why I wasn't successful. It was me. And it took me 2.5 years to work on myself to where I was at a functional level. And what I mean by functional level is to the point to where I had any type of confidence. It had got so bad, man, I couldn't even, look, we family. I'm gonna be real with you. It had got so bad, man, I couldn't even get it up. That's how bad it got. Real talk. That's how bad it got. 100%. So moving to Atlanta changed my life, not because of Atlanta had more opportunities. I was able to build my network and meet other people and all this type of shit. No, bro. For the first 4 years, I ain't know nobody. Atlanta changed my life when I moved because when I got from around the people that I was blaming, I had nobody else to blame but myself. Yep. I'm going to say it again. Moving to Atlanta changed my life because I had nobody else to blame but myself. And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do in my entire life was to face the man in the mirror. So when we talking about the subject overall in terms of taking control of your life, taking control of yourself, the number one thing that you can do is take extreme personal accountability for where you are and stop looking at everybody else. I promise you, I don't give a damn if I don't care if something happened before and they actually wronged you. I'm not discounting what you're feeling, but I'm telling you, blaming other people is not going to get you nowhere. Full stop, 100%. It's not. It's not going to get you nowhere at all. So not only did I take accountability for where I was, I started looking every situation I came in contact with. I just say, you know what? You're right. You got it. Hey, it's on me because then I can have the power to change the shit. If I'm constantly putting the power out externally to everybody else, now I'm flying by the seat of my pants and I'm dependent on them to release me, to level up, to co-sign me, to give me an opportunity to become better, to get a better job and all this type of shit. Like, no, I said no, no, no. It was on me. But it took me to isolate to understand that and to realize that. And the last person I blamed was my girl. I was like, that's crazy. You should have told me that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And you knew that I needed to work. And I'm doing all this sassy man syndrome and all that type shit. And eventually she was like, yo, this ain't on me. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm working. You not. You ain't working consistently. You trying to figure out this real estate guru thing and you doing all this bullshit that don't make sense. It was not on my girl. It was it was on me. That's the truth. It was on me. So that might have not been what you expected because you was probably expecting me to say, yeah, man, when I moved up to Atlanta, it was bigger opportunities. I met people. This one thing led to another. Yes, all of those things happened later. This was years later. This was recently, the last couple of years. But it took me 6, 7 years to get over my own bullshit. That's the truth. It took me a very long time to get over myself. So when he says in this clip right here, and by the way, Denzel killed this movie. Actually, Denzel and Viola Davis, they both killed this role because it depicts what marriage and what relationships in the black community a lot of times, what it used to be back in the day before we got all this new school shit that we got now. That's how it kind of used to be. And as somebody who was born in 88 and I was raised in the 90s, I really didn't get a chance to experience the full 90s for real because about the time I was like 8, 9 years old, you know, I really didn't know what the hell was going on. I was really raised like in the early 2000s is when I was raised. And by then some things had changed. But I value being a man because it gives me extreme control over my entire life. I'm going to say that again. Being a man is the best thing in the world because it gives you an opportunity, if you're willing to take responsibility, it gives you the opportunity to take accountability for your life, commit to a goal. And the truth is, you don't really need anybody to start. Yeah, you hear people say networking and you can't do it alone and no man is an island. Man, that's after you've already done the work within yourself. When you already made yourself great at something and then you connect with like-minded people that you can trade ideas from. You guys can help each other out in your respective careers, and you can be of value to the group. For a long time, I wasn't any value to anybody else because I wasn't of value to myself and I wasn't of value to my family. You guys understand what I'm saying? Do you understand like how special the opportunity that you have right now? That's the truth.